Hi you guys, welcome back to my cozy corner of the internet. I watch so many other amazing booktubers and they just give me so much inspiration. I saw a booktuber named Lottie Smalley do this video and it looked like a lot of fun, and I actually just finished the book The Correspondent, and so I'm currently not reading anything. Iron Flame is over there with about 10 pages of it read. I talked about it in an earlier video. I'm holding off on continuing the Empyrean series at the moment, but I have gathered this stack of books because I'm currently not reading anything right now and it's time to pick my next read. And I saw Lottie judge her TBR by basically the first page. Like, she read the first sentence, but then she also read like the first page or two and was judging each of the books based on that and then choosing her next read. I selected the books that gave kind of summer vibes. You can even tell by the color scheme of the stack that we have going here that these are kind of summer books. So what I'm going to do is read the first page or so of this entire stack of books, and I have a car appointment in about an hour. So we have about an hour to do this so that I can select a book to go ahead and start, and I'm gonna sit at the car dealership while they service my car and I will start reading one of these books. So let's get into it. I'm going to do the same thing that Lottie did and basically rank them after I read the first page based on how excited I am to read them. And then the one that I'm most excited to read is going to be my next read. The first book I need to mention in this stack is Heartless by Marissa Meyer. This is a book that I would never choose for myself, but my roommate came home from a trip home and this book was sitting on the counter with a note on it that said, "Hadley, please read this. I need someone to talk to about it." So this book is going to be my next read regardless, but I do like having two books going at a time. I didn't select any fantasies in this stack because I know this one is a fantasy. And when I'm reading a fantasy, I also need something like a romance or a literary fiction so I can kind of bounce between the two and not hit a reading slump. So we have Heartless for sure. I am so excited about so many of these that I'm honestly overwhelmed by the amount of choices. So it's the perfect time to do this video because it'll help me just randomly choose one. And I know I'm gonna get to them all at some point, but it's going to help me choose out of this stack. There's a lot of blue books, I'm realizing. We really have like a blue, pink, and purple theme happening here. Hopefully it made the thumbnail pretty. So these are in a completely random order. I honestly just selected them all off of my shelf. So we're just going to start at the top. And the first book that I will be judging by its first page is Remarkably Bright Creatures. This is one similar to The Correspondent for me, where it's been on my TBR for so long. I've been meaning to read it and simply haven't yet. I also am refraining from watching the Netflix adaptation of this until I read the book because I want to read the book first. So hitting into, what is it, 10x or 20x times speed, I am going to read the first page. Also, can we just appreciate how beautiful this book is? Look at the spine, not the spine, the pages are sprayed. I mean, this book is just beautiful. Here we go, first page. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I ended up reading the first 2 pages because it seems like it's a bit of a prologue, and if you've read this book, like many other people on the internet, you probably know the first chapter is from the octopus perspective, Marcellus. That was so cute. Why am I already in love with him? He is so cute, and I love his little digs at like humans. He's like, "I won't hold it against you. You are only human after all." I can just tell he's going to be such a lovable character. And why did I not know that the average lifespan of a giant Pacific octopus is 4 years? For some reason, I thought they were creatures with way longer lifespans. Wow. Okay, that makes me really sad because I'm worried he's gonna die at the end of this book and I'm gonna fall in love with him. But if anything, this first page made me even more excited about this book. I think the concept is adorable. Having the perspective of an octopus, I think, is really inventful and fun. So this one's gonna start the stack. I mean, we're gonna start the stack at the top with this one. I'm very excited to read it and I am looking forward to it hopefully soon because, like I said, of the Netflix adaptation. The next one in the stack is While We're Young by K.L. Walther. The reason I picked this up is because of this here line on the front cover. Best-selling author of The Summer of Broken Rules. I loved The Summer of Broken Rules. I got through that in maybe a day. It was super quick. And even though her books look kind of thicker, I already flipped through this one and the text is just as big as Summer of Broken Rules. So I know that this will also be a really fast read for me. I can also tell by kind of thumbing through it that it's multi-POV. This one seems to be more about friendship, a little bit more literary fiction. It says it's inspired by the cult classic film Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which is really interesting. It seems like we have a bit of a love triangle happening in a friend group, as well as one of the friends is in love with the other friend's brother. So I love a messy high school friend group romance. I mean, I love that. I just eat it up. And I know this would be a really fast, fun summer read, but I'm gonna read the first page or so and see what I think after that. Okay, I'm gonna call it there at about 2.5 pages of While We're Young. If anything, this just deterred me from wanting to read this book because the first couple of pages, one of our main characters, I assume Grace, is throwing up in a toilet, and that was just really disgusting. It wasn't super graphic or anything, but it was described, and that was just kind of gross. So yeah, I'm still interested in the premise of this story just because I think it would be a fun, lighthearted romance about some high school kids and just kind of the messy time of life and friend groups. I still like that. But if anything, these first couple of pages just deterred me because that was frankly pretty gross. So I'm gonna put this underneath Remarkably Bright Creatures. So this is our current ranking. This next book, I cannot describe how excited I am. The Great Outdoors. I haven't heard anyone talking about this. I also haven't heard anyone talking about Kayla Olson, this author. I have never read any novel by her before. Is this a debut novel? No, it's not. This book popped up on my Goodreads recommended, and I just adored the premise. This is a romance, and what I can tell by reading the back cover and the description on Goodreads is that we have a very city, high-maintenance girl who goes on this trip, and the tour guide is amazingly attractive, and of course he's going to be witty and funny and awesome, and I kind of already love him just based on that. I love an outdoorsy man. So it's a fish out of water, I think, as well. She's in a totally new environment, and I think she's gonna absolutely fall in love with the tour guide, and I just think it's gonna be so cute. I loved the cover, everything about this. I was very disappointed when I went to Barnes & Noble and they didn't have it, by the way. So I had to order this one on Amazon because Barnes & Noble didn't have it and they said they weren't going to get it. It wasn't even in shipment to them. So not sure what that's about because this looks like the perfect romance to add to their romance section. But without further ado, let's read the first page of it. Okay, I'm gonna stop myself right here, but I think it's a good sign that I do want to keep reading. I just need to make this fair for all the books and only read about the first page or two. Already, I'm very interested because it looks like she's going to be coming fresh off of a breakup onto this trip, which is always a little bit messier and more interesting. And from what I learned in the first page or so, the ex, he constantly made comments about her being an overpacker. They obviously didn't mesh very well, which makes me very interested to see how she's going to mesh with August Thorne, who I'm guessing is this guy, the tour guide she's going to meet at some point. I love when a book comes out with a bang like a breakup. I mean, we are thrown into it page one and she is like, I'm completely blindsided and here's what happened. I like the writing style a lot so far. It sounds like something I would say. This narrator sounds a lot like me. At one point, what did she say? She was like, oh, it was an important night for us, but not in the way I imagined. It's just funny little snarky, sarcastic comments like that. I can tell she's gonna be a really fun narrator to be in the head of throughout this book. But yeah, I really, really liked this so far and I'm so excited to read it. I think this one is definitely above While We're Young. I'm gonna put it kind of on par with Remarkably Bright Creatures. The next book that I have is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I love Taylor Jenkins Reid, much like lots of the booktube community does. My first Taylor Jenkins Reid was One True Loves, and I remember writing a review of that book and saying that it literally changed my perspective on love. And I love books that really make you think or change your perspective on things. And I just think that she is a very talented author. I haven't read Daisy Jones and the Six. I know that that one is huge. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo is also on my TBR. My cousin, shout out girl, if you're watching this, love you so much. She told me I really need to read that book because she really liked it. I've been intimidated by the sheer length of it for a little while. This one, I think, is also kind of a lit fic, maybe a little bit of romance in there. It says, Malibu Rising is a story about one unforgettable night in the life of a family. The night they have to choose what they will keep from the people who made them and what they will leave behind. So this, I think, is about a very rich family, and they have a party that goes completely out of control in Malibu, and the mansion that the house lives in goes up in flames, apparently as a result of this crazy party that they have. And I think it's a really fun concept to try and write an entire novel around just one night. I've just been really interested in like a family drama ever since I read Pineapple Street by Jenny Jackson. That definitely set me on the trend of loving family fiction and family drama. So I'm hoping that this one can give similar vibes, but let's see what I think of the first page. Very interesting. This is not the way I thought this book was going to start, but I think it's very smart, and I think this was tasteful and artful. We are basically getting a geography lesson on Malibu and a history lesson on how many times Malibu has caught fire before, and it repeats several times that it's in Malibu's nature to burn. It says, the Malibu fire of 1983 started not in the dry hills, but on the coastline. It began at 28150 Cliffside Drive on Saturday, August 27th at the home of Nina Rivera during one of the most notorious parties in Los Angeles history. The annual party grew wildly out of control sometime around midnight. By 7 a.m., the coastline of Malibu was engulfed in flames. So I didn't realize that this was a fire that spread. I thought their mansion just burned down, but it sounds like it's going to be actually a fire that spreads far and has an even greater effect. I can't say that this interested me more in reading the book. I can't say it really dissuaded me from reading the book. I'm still incredibly interested in the premise based on the back cover. Also, Saturday, August 27th, 1983 is the date that we get before it looks like, yeah, part one is going to start. I didn't realize this book was set in the 80s. That sounds so fun. I definitely thought this was modern day, so that makes me a little bit excited to read it as well. I am still very curious to see how this fire started at a notorious Los Angeles party like it describes. I wonder what could possibly happen. And I just think the characters are going to get really messy in here. And you know I love reading about messy characters. I think I'm going to put this one right now above Remarkably Bright Creatures. The reason I think I'm leaning more towards something like a romance or a family drama right now is because I'm coming off of The Correspondent, which has a narrator who's in her 70s, and then the other part of this book I know is from the perspective of an older woman as well, and I think I'm just looking for something different right now. So as much as I'm excited to read this book, I'm leaning more towards like a messy romance or a family drama. So I'm going to put Malibu Rising right now on the same level as The Great Outdoors. And we only have 2 more books left to go. So the next one we have is The Shampoo Effect by Jenny Jackson. I am incredibly excited to read this book. As I just mentioned a little bit earlier, Pineapple Street was one of my absolute favorite reads of, 2 years ago now I think I read that book, and of course she has it on the cover of this one, so I'm very excited. I think this one is also kind of a messy lit fic drama, character driven plot. I don't know too much about it, but if it says Jenny Jackson on it, I'm going to read it because Pineapple Street was such an easy 5-star for me. I think this one is based around a friend group. I'm looking at the description again now, and one of the women is crushing on this other guy, except for a girl in the friend group is pregnant by that guy. I mean, name a messier situation. That sounds lovely. So let's go ahead and read the first page of The Shampoo Effect. Oof. Okay, I decided to read the opening anecdote because the first page really doesn't give you a whole ton, and it starts with the subtitle Boston Cream, and then I read until about 3/4 of the way down the second page to where it starts with the good guy. So I'm not sure if the entire book is going to be like this, where there's little subtitles of sections, but that makes me think this would be a very fast read. Like, I could absolutely fly through it. Upon first read, I remember Lottie Smalley also wants to read this book, and it was included in her video where she was judging her next read by the first page. She didn't love this first page. I remember her saying it was kind of boring. It didn't give her any excitement to read it. I kind of just had the opposite experience. Number one, I love the name Caroline. I think that is so cute. And if you can be a good Caroline character, that's just impressive. Lovely name. Also, hilarious. She steps on a jelly-filled donut. It squirts up and coats her crotch area on her pants. So it looks like she totally just bled all over herself. And then there is a sweet man who gives her napkins to try and help her clean it up. And he thinks it's her period, for sure. And that is just hilarious. And the craziest meet cute. I really hope something comes out of this man, but who knows, maybe he's just a beautiful stranger at the beginning of her book. But the part where I went like this, if you saw in the fast forwarded reading, I was like, oh, because once again, we have an adorable outdoorsy man, and I am such a sucker for it. I just can't handle it. It says, he was her age, with long brown hair tucked behind his ears, a fleece jacket, a laptop bag hanging from his shoulder, and the vibe of someone who knew his way around a kayak or a climbing gym. She knew she wasn't in New York anymore. So cute. Like, describe a more perfect man. He has brown hair tucked behind his ears. He has a laptop bag, and he has a vibe that he kayaks and climbs. Sign me up. Sign me up. He sounds adorable. Oh my gosh, this made me very excited to keep going. Caroline seems real and relatable, and I cannot believe that she might have just had a meet cute and the guy thinks that she just bled all over herself. But how kind that he gave her napkins. I mean, he seems like a sweetie. So this definitely made me very excited to read The Shampoo Effect if I already wasn't excited enough. Oh, this is so hard, you guys. The point of this is to rank these books, and all three of these are honestly on the same level at this point for me, but I still think The Shampoo Effect probably beats out both of them. That just made me so excited. Like, what a hilarious, funny opening anecdote. So I think right now this is going to be the ranking for me. We're going to have The Shampoo Effect, then Malibu Rising, then The Great Outdoors. And we have one book left, finally, which is good because I really need to get going to this car appointment and I need a book to read in the waiting room. So the next book that we have is one I've heard absolutely nothing about. I might be the only person on the internet talking about it. It's called The Elsewhere Express, and can we appreciate this gorgeous cover and these sprayed edges? I mean, look at that. How gorgeous is this book? This is a book that just needs to be hardcover. Like, please don't print this in paperback because the hardcover is just too beautiful and just fits it perfectly. I really, really love the premise of this book, which is the reason that I picked it up from Barnes & Noble in the first place. It says, you can't buy a ticket for the Elsewhere Express. Appearing only to those whose lives are adrift, it's a magical train seeming to carry very rare and special cargo, a sense of purpose, peace, and belonging. So anybody who gets on the Elsewhere Express gets taken to their soul's destiny or their life's purpose. And I just thought that was a really interesting premise. I love a magical realism. I love a magical train or like the Midnight Library. Those kind of premises are so fun to read about because they're just completely unrealistic and it gives you a really fun world to just escape to without being intense like a fantasy, like a dragon war fantasy. So I do like that. Let's go ahead and read the first page. Okay, very interesting. I can tell that this is the kind of book where you're very confused upon the first page or so. You kind of don't know what's happening, and you would definitely have to read further into it to kind of fully grasp what's happening. They have some fun pages at the beginning as well, where it's like your itinerary, meet the passengers, and here's your ticket, welcome aboard to the Elsewhere Express. You know, it's just really cute and fun. You can tell that the publisher really worked hard to make this book a whole vibe so that you feel like you're really jumping into this world. I'm a little bit confused about the first page. It's talking about a baby. I wonder if it's this girl, Haraya Sia is I think how you say it. and it's sort of talking about her as a baby. And the interesting part of what I read, unlike most people who spent their lives searching for meaning, the girl was given a pre-made one, no assembly required. In her name was a single simple instruction: save your brother's life. If on the off chance she ever forgot her purpose, her name reminded her exactly why she had been conceived. So that's very interesting. Why are you just having a child? To save your brother's life? I'm confused. Does he need a kidney donor or something? Like, where is this going? So I do like this premise so far. The writing is pretty. I will give it that. It's a little bit pretty and flowery. We have a line that says, "It scented the air with sugared almonds and vanilla and flowed into the girl like warm milk, carrying a wordless wish that every heart, no matter how small, could understand." You know, it's pretty, it's flowery, it's going to be warm and fuzzy and pretty and cute, and I can tell that. But this first couple of paragraphs didn't give me a whole ton to go off of, and I'm not necessarily more excited to read this book. I think it's going to be really fun when I do get around to it, but I am still thinking about this gosh darn opening anecdote of the Shampoo Effect. That was just so funny and cute, and I don't think there's any way the Elsewhere Express is going to beat that for me right now, which is so funny because on any given day, this stack could be ordered completely differently just based on what I'm in the mood to read. Because I picked all of these books out at one point in time because they sounded good and like something I want to read. And they all still do. Even after reading the first page of all of these, I am still very excited to read them all at one point. I wish I could just read them all at the same time, but my brain would overflow with characters and mixing up plot lines. So that's obviously not a smart idea. And as we know, I have Heartless for sure, this fun fantasy that I have no idea what to expect from. Firstly, the Elsewhere Express. I think I'm going to put this probably closer to the bottom. I wish you could see the stack, I'm just staring down. But I think I would put this close-ish to the bottom. I think it's kind of on par right now with Remarkably Bright Creatures, so I guess here you go. This is the final ranking, and I just think I am so excited to read another Jenny Jackson, and I think I'm going to read The Shampoo Effect next in tandem with Heartless. I think these are my two next reads. I'm about to take this to go read at my car service appointment, but I am so excited to keep reading this. I think I'm gonna love Caroline. I think I'm gonna fall in love with these characters once again. It is a Jenny Jackson, and I just have all the faith in her that this is going to live up to Pineapple Street, and it's going to be just as good, or maybe even better. So this is the finished order of ranking some of my TBR by their first page or two. This isn't to say this is the exact order I'll be reading them in next. I think I could do this on any given day, and once I read The Shampoo Effect and take this off the stack, I could retry this, and maybe Malibu Rising wouldn't stick out to me as much as one of these other books. It really just depends on what your mood is. But shout out to Lottie Smalley for giving me this video idea, because I was frankly overwhelmed by the amount of incredible options of books that I had to read, and this really helped me choose. I thought that I wasn't going to have any more clarity on which book I should choose to read next just based on their first pages, but for some reason I totally did, and I just instantly felt really drawn to this opening anecdote and this character and this mysterious boy character who's a climber kayak boy. I just think I'm gonna love him if he ends up coming back and being a character in the book. I just know I will. So this is officially going to be my next read, The Shampoo Effect by Jenny Jackson, and I am so very excited for it. And if I love it a whole ton, I might even make a whole book review video on it. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.